Hello, Blues fans. We're back with the MonBlues podcast. This week, we're joined by Mary Coburn, Carrie-Anne Downs, and Louise Heggie from the Ladies Leadership team. So, first of all, Mary, we'll start with you. Would you like to give us a wee Wikipedia about yourself?
So, I'm Mary Coburn. I'm vice captain for the ladies team. I come from Glenoffice. I'm 32 and I work for Babcock and Rosyth as a welder.
So, Barry, as a welder then, so I'm thinking about one of the television films I used to watch, and that was called Flashdancer. So you rugby club version of the Flashdancer then, so like the Flash Scrum or the Flash or something like that. Is that your sort of goal in life?
Aye, that's it.
No, I've not got the moves for that.
I don't know.
Definitely.
We'll talk about Mull later. So,
Carrie-Anne, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I'm Carrie-Anne. I am also vice captain of the Kirkcaldy Ladies, and I'm also the ladies representative for Kirkcaldy Rugby Club on the board. I am 27. I'm 28 very, very soon, and I work for Fife College, working within a prison education system.
Yeah. Oh, Peggy, would you like to go now?
Well, my real name's Louise. A lot of people won't know, but most people know I get called Peggy, and I am the captain of the ladies team. I am 31 and I work for Scottish War.
Thank you.
You're on standby as well, Peggy. So
I'm currently on standby this week.
If
Yeah.
any of us have water problems, so folk, if you've got water problems out there,
on call.
So we'll go back to Mary now. How did you end up getting involved in rugby? How did rugby come about in your life?
I played when I was younger. At primary school level, I played for Glenoffice. Then I didn't really think about it again, like after that, until I was having a drink at my friend's house one night, and the captain at the time was Alison Massey, and she was a mutual friend, and she persuaded me to come to training when I was drunk. So yeah, that's. And I've never looked back since.
There's going to be a pattern in these answers. I can just sense it.
Carrie-Anne, how did you get involved in rugby?
Mine didn't really involve drink. I left university and started working for Scottish Rugby as a modern apprentice. Had never picked up a rugby ball in my life. Actually, I didn't like rugby at the time either, because I didn't understand the game. So I became a coach first before I actually played. So I decided to come down to the ladies to actually increase my coaching skills more than anything else. I was then told, first game of the season, bring your boots, which is kind of the normal situation. And then I got hooked. So 5, maybe 6 years now I've been with the team. Out injured for 2 of them, unfortunately. But yeah, kind of got hooked from there. So that's my background of the team.
Yeah, Peggy, do you want to?
Well, my background's a little bit different. My best friend Kira was originally from Aberdeen, and she moved to Fife and decided she wanted to get back into sport and meet some new friends. So she convinced me to go to rugby, which I really wasn't interested in. So I got dragged along to the training session. Long story short, she went to the Navy, buggered off, and somehow I've ended up captain of this team. Does that happen years later?
Is that Kira in Gibraltar, is it?
It is, yeah.
Good girl. Great girl. Great lad.
I know, I'm still waiting on our Gibraltar tour.
Well, I can maybe sort that. We'll discuss that, yeah. We will discuss that.
So what's rugby done for you all as a person? How has it helped you? What qualities in life has it given you to take to other places?
To take to our workplace? Well, do you know what? The team itself has actually given me quite a lot of, it's boosted my confidence massively. Going into a situation where you've got 20 odd girls training and you're this little person who has no idea about the game, to go into a situation like that is a massive confidence boost. Been able to have the confidence to actually speak up and on the pitch, and actually just building that confidence and that communication skills. Obviously, all 3 of us are we lead the team to as best as we can. So even those skills just transgress through to everyday life and your working life. I'm sure we've all kind of picked up skills away from the working life. I know that I've slowly kind of getting there. I'm down in a pint. Still a wee bit slower than some of them, but that's a skill which I've slowly been building.
Mary or Peggy, have you got anything to add to that?
I think it just. You go
Well,
now.
she told you.
Let me go.
I think the communication aspect of it as well, and planning stuff as well, like socials and like we go to the Pride events, so kind of those skills come into your everyday life as well.
Pride's a huge event for you girls, as in capture players and that sort of stuff, and advertise the club. You know, I went to the last one and got all made up and that sort of stuff and looked fabulous, apparently, according to my grandson. But so you know, the big thing about Pride is getting involved with people and getting them down. I think once you get them in the door, as you've all said, really, it's the camaraderie and that sort of stuff you've got that makes it really special being part of the ladies' team. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, well, we picked up. I think we got a good few players from Pride last year. Obviously, we don't know if Pride's going to go ahead this year, and hopefully it does. But it's massive for our team. We're a massive supporter of the LGBTQ+ community, and even the whole club are a massive supporter of it. So it's just great. It's a great day for us to actually showcase who we are. It's a good day out for us. It's a massive social thing for us as well, which is fantastic. So
definitely.
And social seems to be one of the things that the ladies really seem to enjoy.
You do it well, mate. I promise you. I've been there for them.
And seems to be part of team culture. Would you just like to give us a bit of an insight into what events and socials happen?
Do you really want to know? No.
You're young to know. Maybe take your ears and Maria.
Peggy, you can answer this one.
Well, I think last year we had quite a lot of good different socials. I think Mary took it under our hat and kind of got the team back together because we wanted to really build team spirit in, you know, the rugby family. And we had a good couple of nights out. We had a cocktail night, which was quite classy to begin with.
To begin with.
Yeah. Pints of cocktail.
We also had a lot of other team nights out, like they went to Inflatable World, just loads of like fun things. Like it doesn't always need to be related around drink, and you know, there's people that don't drink in the team, so you know, it's about finding things that everyone likes and everyone likes.
Did you do the bubble football or something like that as well? Was that you guys?
Oh yeah, we did
that a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Aye, that looked good fun. I've seen some of the photographs, I'm sure, on social media.
Right, it was.
Yeah, I'm sure we just ended up rolling down the hill in them, to be honest. But
it's a sport in Gloucestershire. They chase after cheese that way or something like that, apparently.
That was good fun, though.
And one of the other things that's a big thing for the ladies that Corgie's experienced, as well as Mull Sevens, which is a big thing for the ladies. Would you like to give us a bit of an insight into the Mull Sevens as well?
It was
the highlight of our year. It really is. It's such good fun.
Yeah, so Mull Sevens is a weekend kind of tour for the ladies. We all get together, we travel, normally in 2 minibuses because there's quite a few of us that go. We stay in Oban on the Friday night. Certain players, let's just say, get a bit messy on the Friday night. Get a ferry over, yes. Mary's laughing because she knows. Get a ferry on the Saturday morning, very early, unfortunately. Go to Mull, play sevens.
Alcohol for breakfast, Carrie-Anne, don't forget that part.
Yeah, if you can. It's a big sevens tournament, massive social sevens. I think the majority of our team, I don't think I've been sober playing in Mull, unfortunately. That's really bad, but it is what it is.
Can't play sober.
Yeah, nothing's over. Then it's just a big social. It's just a big fun weekend for us all. The Sunday's never pretty, but we travel home and suffer in our own beds when we get back. Corgi, do you want to maybe share some of your experiences?
I've watched enough to be invited last year to come along. I'd got involved with the ladies section a couple of years ago. And I can't remember if I took over director rugby and went down and did a season at coaching before Dave McCarville and the family took over. But and I try and get down and watch the girls' games as much as possible and go down to training sometimes if they're ever needing a wee hand, because they've become a real close part of the Kirkcaldy family to me. You know, they're all good pals. They're all on my social media and stuff like that. We have great fun. In their company, I get invited to their Christmas do. So this year I got invited to Mull, so I volunteered to drive one of the minibuses to Oban. There wasn't enough room in the hostel, so Dave McCarville and I cuddled up in the minibus. It was cosy. We drove across the Mull. I took my kit and ended up refereeing a couple of games. I had to stop one of the games to escort a Stirling winger off the pitch. He was so drunk that I think he tried to do a WWE move on one of the other players, flying sort of headbutt for a tackle. I escorted him off the pitch to the coach of the team, who was probably drunker. Try to hand him over and say, well, you've just put somebody at least a bit more sober on so we can finish the game. It's bizarre, you know. There's actually some class rugby there. There's some world class rugby there, considering folk are on it hard, you know. But it just extends, I think, the camaraderie, as the girls were saying about the internal side of the club. The external side of women's rugby is so close. You know, I think that's one of the bigger differences, and that's what made that weekend for me. It's one of the best weekends I've had away. Obviously, I had to be a bit careful. I was driving on the Sunday, so you know, I stopped drinking on the Wednesday or something like that, and put it back down the road, you know. But and you know, to get off subject a little bit, I do think that the relationships that the oppositions in women's rugby build up is phenomenal. I would hope the girls would agree with that, you know. And you girls watch the men's rugby at the club, you know, a big part of that coming down. I think the social side is still quite old-fashioned in that you'll have Dick of the Day and you'll have pint drinking competitions, you have player of the match, you have newbie of the match. You know, you make as much of a fuss about after the game as you do during the game. And I hope you keep that in the rugby, because I love all that sort of stuff. You know, that must be surely a big part of just the women's rugby culture.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's more like, in terms of like for us in the league that we're in, we've actually made really good bonds with a lot of the teams that are in our leagues, which some people might think that's maybe a bad thing if you're playing against them, but we always have the mentality of what happens on the pitch stays on the pitch, and we're all good friends out of it. There's been multiple times we've had like joint training sessions, some really good training sessions with Grangemouth, for example. The ladies there are absolutely lovely, and there's actually Grangemouth helped us out in Mull last year, because one of our players we had to bench for alcohol reasons. So yeah, there's a massive friendship between clubs. It's great. The environment is just fab. So
yeah, definitely. I love it.
I think because Mull is just it's a social sevens, so it's not, and nobody's going in thinking so seriously that they need to win these games. Like, everybody's just having a laugh, so that continues into the league, that you've built up those friendships.
Yeah, that's what I noticed as well. A lot of the same teams that you're talking about go to Mull as well. You know, it seems to be that community, an extension of your community. Excellent.
Corgi, are you ready to crack on with the bag?
I'm ready.
Then?
It's just I have to ask these ladies if they're ready.
We're ready.
The bag, you know, the bag.
Aren't ready.
The bag now has its own postcode. I think it's got that much of a following. So here it is, the Kirkcaldy Rugby Club rucksack with the Corgi George on it. And as you know, girls, I'll produce an object from the bag, and I want you to say the first person's name that you think of when you see the object. So on the Mull theme then.
is it alcohol or Prosecco you want?
Whatever. I would go with alcohol. It's a lot easier.
But I know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Emma Kerr.
Emma Kerr.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Emma
biggest
Kerr.
loser.
It was bizarre, and that's the person we talked about the mole trip there, wasn't it? You know, that she slept through all the rugby.
Yeah.
Or
We had to
slept's maybe a generous term. Lost consciousness through all the rugby, and then woke up to a buzzy wee at midnight and that sort of stuff. And, oh no, she was in my minibus on the way home, and I'm thinking, oh no. But somebody fortunately took the batteries out her back, and she slept for the 4 hours home, which was really, really
I've
good.
got the photos.
I was so glad that she slept.
Ruined.
All right then, very, very good. Okay, so back into the bag. Emma Kerr wins that one. Right, I know if you know, girls, we had a dummy run at this before we started. So we asked a member of the ladies team to come on and do the dummy run. So it maybe doesn't make any sense at the moment, but who do you think of when you see that?
Buckley.
Emma, the lecturer, Buckley, St Andrews University lecturer.
Absolutely.
Can't be possible. How can you explain that, Carrie-Anne?
Takes one for the team.
Yeah, she takes one for the team massively. She always ends up with a card due to team infringements throughout the game.
Right.
And just unfortunately, she's the one that gets caught last, and it ends up with a card.
Anybody knows Emma, you'll know that she is the nicest person all round.
Absolutely.
The least person you would ever think she'll get a card, ever.
Yeah. The good thing about this is she never gets on social media, so she'll never say it. You'd say what you want.
No, she won't.
Social media user. I've seen a like from her once on social media. I was quite impressed. But no, it's just Mary, your name was mentioned when we produced this.
Mine? I've never heard the red card.
I know. But it was the fact that whoever came on hadn't seen anybody getting red card, but thought you were most likely. Did you hand people off really viciously? Okay, so I think you remember this one from there's quite a good story about Adam Hastings with regard to this one from Murray McCallum. So the fake tan. Who's the fake tanner?
Carrie-Anne.
I
actually bought that yesterday and put it on yesterday, so I'll
That's,
say me.
Your name was mentioned again for that. So, Carrie-Anne, defend yourself. You know, you're surely not a user of the fake tan. You know, you've got a house in the west of Fife, right in the coast. You surely just lie on the beaches. Get radiation. They'll get you banned.
I have been in my back garden for the past 3 days, so I'm currently burnt. But no, definitely not me. I'm 100% allergic to fake tan. So that's not even a lie. Exactly.
Okay, the next object. I've got a bit of poetic license. As you know, I've got a grandson, nearly 2 years old. So he calls this a TikTok. So if I was to say TikTok to you, what would you say to me?
Sandra. Absolutely, Sandra. She is loving life in this lockdown, and TikToks, it makes my day.
It's so brilliant. You know, I watch it on our Facebook, and it is, and I'm not joking. You know, I've seen professional artists doing stuff and that on TikTok. They are nothing on Sandra Laird. She is genius when it comes to that sort of stuff. Peggy, I must have known you to death. You know, I must have known you to death, Pegs.
I think somebody needs to send her some help.
Brilliant. No. If you get a chance, log on to some of our stuff. I'm trying to think which is the best one. I'm trying to think. Once we was standing looking at the window of the day.
The milkshake one.
The milkshake one. Always coming. Oh yeah, my milkshake. But you've just got to watch. I think sometimes as well. There could be a red triangle in the corner of some of our statements. Okay, who's addicted to their mobile phone in the team?
Oh,
that's a hard one.
Yeah, I don't know.
No? You're quite disciplined?
I think the girls are pretty good when we're all kind of on nights out, and phones are normally away, and we're normally having rugby family time, to be honest.
That's nice.
Unless Mary's looking for a date, then she's on the phone quite a lot.
Very rude. Very rude. You're on your phone now, Mary. Slash her right. Get rid of her. Okay. Anybody take a puff then? Anybody in the team take a puff?
That reminds me of Deb's. Deborah Mellon.
Deborah Mellon,
Hands down.
great
Hands
tourist,
down.
great tourist, Deborah as well. From what I hear, she wasn't on the trip I was on. She was on the trip the year before.
No, she got banned.
Yeah.
She's not allowed.
Yep. And it's far too
That
early
was
tonight
my
to tell that story.
favourite mole trip.
What's that?
That was
Yeah.
my favourite mole trip, was Deb's. She was the
Yeah.
highlight of the weekend.
Yeah,
She
brilliant.
was so funny that weekend.
It was a guy apparently who was looking after the hostel. I think we do have money, I think, aren't we? Aye.
That poor guy.
Should do my t-shirt.
Yeah.
Brilliant. No, absolutely fantastic. Okay then, listen, I can probably answer this question myself, but who's injured? So who gets the deep heat and the tiger balm and that sort of stuff? Who's always on the physio table?
That's Mary.
That's not me. I don't use Tiger Balm.
Have you done something to annoy these women? You know, because every sort of answer seems to be going towards you. When you've got a lassie that's already admitted to being off 2 years injured in the same company.
I know, carry on. It's you.
They're equally as bad as each other.
Aye, and again, I was up at Howe when what did you do at your ankle at Howe?
Oh, I broke my ankle. That's my only really bad injury. And I hobbled myself off the pitch.
I know, because I was refereeing, I had to run round you. I was quite annoyed. Nearly huddled you at one point, I'm sure. Just unbelievable. Okay, this one's going to be a testing one. I might have to give you a hand with this one. It's a potato. So, potato. Potato mean anything? Anybody?
Well, it's got to be Brenda, right?
Brenda, yeah.
Or Cassie?
Or Cassie, yes.
So, who knows the Cassie story about potato?
Cassie
I don't
Brenda South in Ireland.
Yeah.
You need to tell us. I haven't got a clue, you know, honestly.
Cassie told the Irish how to grow potatoes. She was
You
that
did.
drunk.
It was something like 5 o'clock in the morning, though. The one that she was.
Brenda's 50th. That was another family trip out.
There was a family
Brenda's
trip out
50th.
to see Brenda Brogan, aye. And
Yeah,
her
some of
family.
the girls flew out on a shanty plane.
Is a family not potato farmers or something like that? You know, are they not experts in farming and all that sort of
Oh, I don't know. You just don't really tell the Irish how to grow potatoes.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's like telling Scots how to make whiskey and that, isn't it? So. Right, so perfect. That's the bag sort of done. So what we're going to do now, as you've probably seen, you've seen one of the episodes, eh? So I asked Murray who I thought would be the wild card, but what I'm going to do with this one for you girls is I'm going to give you the captains for the 4 teams, England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you to choose the captain for the British Lions team next year. So Wales is Alan Wynne-Jones, obviously, big, tall second row, workhorse, been probably, if not the best player in the world, in the top 2 or 3 for about 10 years now. And then you've got Johnny Sexton from Ireland, the number 10, who is very passionate about the game to the point where he can be annoying to referees, but I think he's just really, really passionate. You've got for England, Owen Farrell probably. Very similar to Sexton and that sort of stuff, in that he's very passionate and maybe misunderstood. And then finally we've got Stuart Hogg from Scotland. So of them girls, who's your vote for the British Lions captain next year for the trip to South Africa?
Mine would be Alan Wynne-Jones.
Oh, really?
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
So what's special about him then? What does he give that others don't?
I just think if you're comparing all 4 of them, he's just head and shoulders above the rest. I think as much as the rest of them are fantastic players, in my opinion, Stuart Hogg didn't really do a good job captaining recently.
No.
Don't know whether the pressure got too much for him.
Yeah.
But he didn't play that great.
Yeah.
Where Owen Farrell's concerned, he's too much of a liability. He gets away with a lot of stuff, but I wouldn't say he's just not there for me. Sexton probably the same. Just Alan Wynne is he's just got more. He seems to just have more experience, and he's got his head screwed on, and kind of what he's done with the Welsh team recently has been phenomenal. So
great, I couldn't agree with you more. What about Peggy and Mary? You got any arguments against you?
No, I agree with Carrie Ann with everything that you just said there. Yeah.
Peggy, that's 2 against 1 already, but you got to vote for somebody.
And with Carrie Ann as well.
Yeah, hey, clean sweep. There you go.
The working, hasn't it?
I know Warren Gatland does watch this avidly, So there you go, guys. That's as good as done then for next season. Nice one. I'm thinking about going out, so it should be good. But I might clash with them all, so I might not bother. I might just go trust them all. Girls, that's the bag. Thanks very much. Great efforts, and I'll hand you now back to Murray.
Thank you, Corgi.
You're
So, first question that we'll start off with as we're beginning to finish off the show is, who's the best player that you've played with for any team whenever?
Yeah, for me, that's got to be Brenda and her magical jinky sidestep. And I still don't understand to this day how she didn't play for Ireland. That girl was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Every Sunday comes out and gives it her best, and one of the best players that I've played with, hands down.
Yeah, it's Brenda for me as well. Like.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. The second she gets in the pitch, you know that she's going to have your back, and you know what she's going to do to an extent. She's just next level on the pitch. Which, with her changing jobs and not being able to play much last season, it was quite a hard hit. But it's always great to have her on the pitch. Always.
She has that footwork that she learned from dancing, again, from seeing a few videos and that sort of stuff.
Twinkle toes.
Twinkle toes on the toes on the dance floor. For the folks in the crowd and the folk from Kipper but don't it, Brenda Brogan, former joint captain last season, I think, but as I was saying, now a firefighter in at the airport. So, finds it hard to get shifts off. What a loss. A tremendous player. I couldn't agree with you more, girls. Although I think everybody's quite special, but yeah, she's got a wee special thing about when she plays.
She does. She's definitely got rugby in her genes anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if there was one thing that you could change about rugby to improve it, what would it be, on the field or off the field?
What, rugby in general, or just...
Yeah, just rugby in general.
Well, I think women's rugby is kind of changing and moving in the right direction now from when we first started playing. I think, Karen, you'd agree. So kind of we're going along with any woman can, which is great. So, just kind of following that momentum.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more, the one thing I would probably change is the mentality behind women's rugby. I still think there's massive stereotypes where women's rugby is concerned. So if that could change, I think that would be massive. Obviously, it is changing, but if it continues to change, and that's the mentality of supporters, it's the mentality of players, it's the mentality of absolutely anybody within clubs, so on and so forth. So,
yeah.
It's bizarre. It is bizarre as a referee watching your games and seeing a game where a team has given away 40 penalties, perhaps, and there's no cards given because the referees, I don't think, treat you equally. In a game, an under-16 game, a Colts game, a men's senior game, there'd be yellow and red cards flying about over the place. I just don't think they're helping educate, because I think about ladies rugby is, I know you three have got a bit of experience, but you could be playing right next to somebody who's touching the ball for the first time in ladies rugby, because it's that sort of thing. The schools are doing stuff now, but they still get the walk-ins. And because you've got limited numbers at times, maybe a 16th person that comes on the last 10 minutes never touched the ball before, and the refs are there to help them. But they're not teaching them if they don't do it properly.
Yeah, there's been occasions, sorry Mary, there's been occasions that we've had a referee say to us at the start of the game, also, is this just for fun? No, this is our league. So it's that kind of mentality as well, that we want to be taken seriously as teams, want to be taken seriously as a league. And like you said, Corgi, we do have that issue to an extent, that we'll be playing against people who've it could be their first ever game. Our team, we're part of that. We have a lot of new players who have never played rugby before, and some of their first games was last season. So it's just to have that protection there as well from a referee stance, which I think sometimes does lack. Not all the time, absolutely not all the time, but on some occasions it's not great. Great.
Yeah, you can imagine some of them ask you out for a cup of coffee or something like that during the game or something like that.
So the final thing to finish off, where's the place that you enjoy playing most, and where's the place that you don't want to go back to play?
Well, I think we'll all agree on where we don't want to go back to. I'm sure. Starts with a K, maybe?
Absolutely.
I think
100% agree with that
Good
one.
Cody.
that's got to be your favourite. There's nothing better than playing on your home pitch because it's your home turf and having the stand and having the supporters cheer us on. It's just a real sense of like being a Blue.
I think it was special last year when we won the sevens and the Friday night sevens we did. I thought it was a fantastic night, the start of an epic weekend and that sort of stuff. And you started off brilliantly. You could see how much it meant to you to win that tournament at home and do the club proud and that sort of stuff. It was a fantastic weekend. It was great to watch, great to be part of.
Yeah, I think like Peggy says, there's always winning at home or even just playing at home. There could be that added pressure that it's your home game, but when you win there and you've got your supporters behind you, there's nothing that can beat it. Like, yes, I think Mary, I think you did as well. We've all played at Murrayfield as well for the bowl final a couple of years ago, and as much as that was a fantastic experience, it's not home.
Yeah, 3 years ago today, would you believe?
Was it?
We were robbed.
Yeah, you were.
We're still better.
Aye. That's why I didn't put anyone to celebrate it. Brilliant.
And then, where's the place that you don't want to go and play again?
Mate. Oh, mate. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well,
Should we call it Mull? Should we say Mull?
I really want to start the war.
No, we'll start a war. We're back in the league with them next year.
Just leave it at that, I think.
yeah.
So, thank you very much for your time and for coming on the podcast.
No worries. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, girls. Good fun. Great to have you again.